Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Troilus and Cressida, and at the moment we're in the middle of this seemingly never-ending scene known as Act 1, Scene 3. We are going to get to hear from Aeneas today, and Aeneas is a commander in the Trojan army, though at the moment we're in the Greek camp, and we've been hanging out with Ulysses and Agamemnon and Nestor, and I believe Menelaus is there, some other people, and they've been trying to... Agamemnon was like, we shouldn't feel bad about the fact that we haven't won the war yet, and Ulysses is like, actually we should, because our guys are not paying attention, they're scattered, they're all over the place, everybody hates their commanders and then hates their commanders, so nobody's taking anybody seriously, nobody's following any actual orders, and then Achilles and Patroclus and then also Ajax are just doing like big caricature type imitations of all of the Greek commanders. So when the Greek commanders do actually say something or try to strategize about the war, everybody just laughs at it, and then they get made fun of even more later on. So while they're having this discussion, Aeneas shows up, this messenger from Troy, and there's this bit about I need to talk to Agamemnon. Are you Agamemnon? Because of course he can't just like pull up a photo on his phone. This was way before that kind of phone existed, back in the days of flip phones. This whole thing of, are you Agamemnon? I can only talk to Agamemnon. I bring a trumpet to share my news, and Agamemnon is finally like, I'm not sleeping, go ahead, tell us what it is that you have to say. And Aeneas says, trumpet, blow loud, send thy brassy voice through all these lazy tents, and every Greek of metal let him know what Troy means fairly shall be spoke aloud. So that a literal trumpet sounds. And he continues. We have, great Agamemnon, here in Troy, a prince called Hector. Priam is his father, who in this dull and long-continued truce is... rusty grown. He bade me take a trumpet, and to this purpose speak. Kings, princes, lords, if there be one amongst the fairest of Greece that holds his honor higher than his ease, that seeks his praise more than he fears his peril, that knows his valor and knows not his fear, that loves his mistress more than in concession with truant vows to her own lips he loves, and dare avow her beauty and her worth in other arms than hers, to him this challenge. Hector, in view of Trojans and of Greeks, shall make it good, or do his best to do it. He hath a lady, wiser, fairer, truer, than ever Greek did compass in his arms, and will tomorrow with his trumpet call, midway between your tents and walls of Troy, to rouse a Grecian that is true in love. If any come, Hector shall honor him. If none, he'll say in Troy when he retires, the Grecian dames are sunburnt, and not worth the splinter of a lance, even so much. So he's coming to like throw down the gauntlet, but not in like a mad way or a mean way. He's issuing a challenge to all of the Greeks. There's a prince in Troy named Hector. He's the son of Priam, and he's getting bored with this. I mean, this war has been going on for like 7 years, and he's getting bored and feels like maybe he's out of practice or something like that. So he sends Aeneas to talk a little smack at the Greeks and be like, if any of you are actually soldiers and you want to fight, and if you love anything other than, sitting around and being lazy, he's basically saying this is a challenge open to anyone. Come and fight Hector. Hector tomorrow morning is going to blow a trumpet, and he'll meet whoever your champion is halfway between your camp and the walls of the city, and they can have it out. They'll have a nice little battle there. And he ends it with saying, and if nobody shows up, then, Hector's just going to have some really mean things to say about the women of Greece. So Agamemnon and Ulysses and the rest are like, yeah, okay, we get it. We'll issue your challenge. And Nestor is like, and if nobody shows up, remember, Nestor's very old at this point. Like, in varying accounts, he's either like 80 or 300. So this could be a 300-year-old man saying, you know, if nobody else shows up, I'll show up and I'll challenge Hector. And they're like, you're so cute. But then they're very polite to Aeneas when he's there. They're like, you know, we'll take you out. You can dine here with us before you go back and tell Hector, you know, before you go back to Troy, and tell Hector that that his challenge is accepted and somebody will be out there. And most of them go off with Aeneas to, you know, get him some provisions before he heads back to Troy. But Ulysses and Nestor stay behind, and Ulysses is like, I have a thought and I need to run it by you. And Nestor's like, okay. You're like, what's up? And Ulysses is like, this is obviously a challenge, right? He's challenging us to put forth our best Grecian, right? In this whole thing. And before we figure out where Ulysses' whole plan is going, we need to hear sort of a long rambling monologue from Nestor, which we'll get to tomorrow. So I'll see you then for that. And then we can figure out what the plan is here. Because seriously, this is only Act 1, Scene 3. We need to develop an actual plot. So far we have Troilus loves Cressida, Cressida loves Troilus, but neither wants to tell each other, which feels like a million years ago after this length of Act 1, Scene 3. And now we've got a war that's going to have like a mini, you know, battle between the sharks and the jets in the middle of it. Or, you know, is there an episode of Game of Thrones where they're like, yes, it's right before the Battle of the Bastards, where they're like, you know, if just the two of us fight it out, then nobody else has to die. So that's sort of what Hector's doing here. But anyway, we got to see where all of this is going to go. We got to see who's going to answer the challenge. Is it going to be Nestor? Who's it going to be? And we'll start getting towards that tomorrow. I promise this scene doesn't last forever, just almost forever. I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.